with us as well. And so I'd love to have you introduce yourself, really, talking about where the company is and the work that you're doing right now, also highlighting the schools and majors that you had along the way, and we can start from anywhere.
Sure, yeah, we'll go in order. Hello. So I'm John Paul. I'm the principal architect of Condé Nast, which is a company that by itself, the name people don't typically know and typically have a reaction to, but we are the owners of many brands of magazines and websites and things like GQ, Vogue, Teen Vogue, Vanity Fair, The New Yorker, lots of other things that I'm not mentioning because I don't have the memory for it. Both domestically and internationally, there are hundreds or so of different magazines. I am a principal architect there working on the software engineering architecture side, so coordinating lots of different teams, building out websites, mobile applications, lots of very interesting data tools for all of our customers and all of our users and readers and subscribers. There's so many different words for these kinds of things. So in terms of my education, my life is now actually in software engineering and in architecture. My education is actually in chemistry. So my undergrad is in chemistry, and I went through chemistry for quite a long time, even though I do still really enjoy that and love that working up the brain. Now my life is in a very different, also STEM field.
And just where did you go to school?
I went to NYU.
Awesome, thank you.
Hi, my name is Yapah, and I'm working with Arlene and MindWriter, which is the Code Studio. We're working on a headset that reads your brainwaves and tracks the stress levels that you go through, like when you're riding a bike or driving a car. I also work at Apple Design Group. I've been working with the code for a couple of years now, and I'm working on designing the headset. So the headset's come a long way. It started from a helmet, and now we got it down to this big, and it just clicks onto your ear, onto your forehead, and it tracks all the waves. So I'm the junior designer in the business, and I went to school for industrial design. I went to City Tech, New York City College of Technology in Brooklyn. I also have another job. I'm a designer at Apple Design Group, where we do pools and water walls and jacuzzis and stuff like that. So I do a little bit of both. So I have the little objects for Arlene and big objects with my other job.
That sounds cool. It sounds kind of relaxing right now, too. I wouldn't be mad at that.
Great. Hi everyone, my name is Arlene Ducal, and as Yapah mentioned, I run Ducode Studio, which is a scientific design and visualization studio, and then there's a spin-off company that I also run, which is called DuCorp, and that focuses more on products. Our main focus is kind of the intersection of urban planning and wearable biosensors. So Yapah designs the mechanical casing for the biosensors that we develop, and forgot to bring one, but I have a lot of stickers. We have some tchotchkes for you guys. Let's see, my background is in computer science and the arts. I did my undergrad at the University of Maryland. I grew up in Baltimore. And I studied computer science and music composition, and then a few years after that I moved to New York and studied computer art at the School of Visual Arts. And then almost a decade later I went back to school at MIT. I was at the Media Lab there, and I got a Master's of Science and focused on human-computing interaction. So the work that I do is sort of in between the virtual and the physical plane. We do a lot of electrical engineering-oriented stuff, computer science-oriented stuff, design engineering, urban planning. It's like kind of a big mix there.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. I mean, one of the things that I find interesting is that sometimes the way you start your STEM interest and you start that pathway might not be where you ended up. But can you guys, reflect back on what got you interested in these STEM fields at the beginning? So for me, it was just that's the way we grew up. We grew up doing a lot of math. We grew up breaking toys more than playing with toys, and got in trouble for it. But it's also interesting because we grew up I only have sisters. So it was really fun and interesting and kind of breaking some of those barriers and thinking about things that maybe we shouldn't have been doing at that time. We should have been playing with our dolls, according to some family members. So I'm trying to just help fill time and giving you some time to think about like what was that spark for you?
I think it's great that you mentioned toys. Because a lot of technology is a toy when it first launches before people integrate it into their lives and know what to do with it. And at least for me, what sparked my interest in computer science as a kid was playing with the computer and just being fascinated with the possibilities of the computer and the possibilities of what you might be able to make with it. So every time, I wouldn't say I'm a gadget geek, but there are certain technologies that come along and they really resonate with you and you just want to play with them, and those have been really defining moments in my life as far as the path that I've been on.
So when I was young, I really loved cars, so that was my passion. It started off with me saying I wanted to be a mechanic. But the first, from 12, I'm oh, I'm gonna be a mechanic when I get. So my best friend, she sat down. She's just what do you want to do with cars? Why you say mechanic? I'm just oh, I want to design a car. So I went into figuring out what major I should go into that's gonna get me to designing the outside of a car, not the inside of the car. And then that led me into New York City College of Technology, and then that showed me into different ways that testing and research and R&D. So now I really enjoy researching and regular just designing little products. I've done furniture and stuff, but still cars is the goal.
So I feel like there are two sort of different paths that I had around finding out why I liked sort of STEM as a category. Even though chemistry and computer science have been what I spend a lot of time on, really the original thing was probably math, because I don't remember exactly when it was. I was sometime between, at some point way too young to actually understand why I was being happy about this, but someone, it might have been my father, it might have been someone in school, was trying to explain to me what infinity was and how there's an infinity of numbers between 1 and 2. And I remember thinking, I was probably 10 years old, but thinking this is so weird, but that's true. I know how decimal points work, but that's so true. And then, I wasn't quite Googling at the time, but there was a lot of questions to ask about what is now basically number theory that I don't know that much about, to be honest, but I find very, very fascinating. And so part of it was there were these little moments of your heart going pitter-patter when you understand or start to understand something new that I really wanted to keep feeling. It was very addicting and enjoyable. The other side of this was, for me, as growing up, I think this is probably why I ended up as a computer person, is that my father was a very, he played chess. I never won. He could read books that were gigantic, and I was reading I don't know, first Harry Potter and thinking that was hard. I was always very annoyed and competitive that my father could do these things. A computer comes along, and he's the old geezer, and I know how to type, right? So for me, it was really great and motivating to see I can do this way better than all the other people who have graduate degrees or have been alive triple the time, right? So getting that kind of motivation, and for me, competition was part of it. Was very helpful.
Yeah, I think competition is a tricky one, right? Because it can either be that driver or be that thing that turns you away because you're just trying to have fun and everybody else is trying to win. And you don't know how. It works
easier when it's your father who doesn't care.
Exactly. Yeah. Competition in my house doesn't go well because I also like to win, and I don't let them win. It's good parenting or bad parenting, but if they win, it's because they earned it, and not because I let them. So I think one of the things that's always interesting when you're thinking about your jobs is that you have these memorable moments of growing up and what was that spark. But in your careers, what's been something that's made you really proud and has been a standout thing that you've done and reflect back and be hey, I can't believe I did that. That was super awesome of me. We can start with anybody.
I would say, so when I started college, I got introduced to STEM. And that was a real change. That's what really showed me there's other things around. So my first year, my teacher, since I was the only female, he just sent me off to NASA to work for there for 3 months. He's oh, we're going to NASA, let's go, we have a grant, and they showed me different things, and from there, I just started talking to more people about STEM, and I like that. I like showing my experience of different things that I've done, like in the engineering field, and be able to tell people like things that I've learned, like the things I've learned from NASA, the things I've learned from my professors bothering me, like make sure you do this, make sure you do this. So that was really good.
That's awesome. I know that's a hard question, right?
I'm trying to figure out how to pick the.
Or how do you pick one, right?
between
It's like
two.
there's so many of them.
I'm between two, and I might just talk about
You can
both.
talk about both. You don't have to.
So, okay, so one is pretty relatively easy to explain. So the first time I really realized that so I'm as a software engineer, I write code and put that into websites. The moment I realized that some particular code that I happened to write for GQ.com had run on millions of people's computers, millions upon millions upon millions, and I can't give an exact number, not that I would know it off the top of my head anyway, it was very exciting to think, like, that thing that I did is something that is impacting millions of people at this exact moment, because I can tell that. The other thing is, and this is, so every industry and niche has their own like idols, and like everyone thinks Steve Jobs is a great guy, or whoever. There are always these people you aspire to be. Many years after I started in my career, I was very lucky to be given an opportunity to speak at a conference immediately before the creator of JavaScript, which happens to be a programming language that is run in all of your phones and browsers. It's a very, very popular one. And I was very, very proud to not only meet the guy, but to be speaking roughly as a peer with him.
That's a great accomplishment.
That's exciting. Okay, I can think of two things too. As a person who runs a small business, a lot of the work that I do is management. And I'd say at this point, especially with the STEM field the way it is today, the way it was 10 years ago, the way it was 50 years ago, I am definitely the most proud of the team that has come together for Decode and Ducorp. The team is 80% female, I think 80% people of color, and that's rare. And they're all incredible people, as you can see. Incidentally, I should mention that we met through the Brooklyn Tech Triangle internship program, which brought Yapah to our studio. And I know that there are a lot of college to work sort of programs in New York City. And so if you have the opportunity, like here at NYSci, as you were mentioning, so if you have the opportunity to participate in one of those, it's really a win-win situation for everyone. The other thing I'm really proud of, so when I finished my first graduate degree and was out in the world, the first job I had was as a teacher at Touro College, and I was totally unprepared. I was 3 years older than my students. But I kind of felt, okay, this is something that I want to come back to because I like the aspect of knowledge transfer. I liked how my students teach me about new technology, new ways to use technology, but I wasn't ready then. So fast forward more than a decade later, and now I'm a teacher again. I teach at the NYU School of Engineering, and even though I still don't feel quite prepared, I just get a huge amount out of it, and I'm really proud of what my students do. I teach data visualization and fabrication, and I definitely learn as much from my students as they do from me.
That's pretty awesome. Yapah, you were really talking about, you had teachers that pushed you. You're like, oh, I was the only girl in the class. And so like, yeah, let's go to NASA. That is not a sentence I hear every day. The only girl in the class, maybe, the let's go to NASA, not that part. But one of the things it makes me think about is really being a part of a network, or how have you found mentors and supporters along your way that have helped you progress in your careers? And are you a mentor? Like you mentioned teaching, you're a mentor and supporter for a lot of other people. So how do you find, what value do you put in those kinds of relationships and helping people reach goals?
Arlene's been like my mentor for a while. Like, she's been like, every time I have a question, like, I feel like Arlene knows everything. Like, so every time I have a question, Arlene, how do you do this? Like, so she's taught me like a lot of things, like soldering, like, I haven't done like quoting, like I started first quoting with Arlene, like getting quotes and just figuring out how to do a BOM, like a bill of materials.
And then you learn it and you do it way faster than me.
And in school, I had a professor that still tries to contact me, like figure out what I'm doing, like tell y'all to come over. I have to know what she's doing. Like for my whole 4 years, like ever since freshman year, he's just like he's been on like getting me in all my internships. I was in an internship like the whole 4 years of my college, like during school, the summer, and then the last 2 summers, that's when I started with Brooklyn Tech Triangle, and I was working with Stone USA, and they was more like a concrete company, but it didn't go any further than with internship. And then my last year I was with Arlene, and it kept going, like we kept finding new ways to develop it more and more, like new things that we could do and new things that we could add and everything. So mentors, they pushed me a lot. Like if I didn't have my professor and Arlene, like I don't know. Like just kidding.
Or that friend that helped you figure out why you want to be a mechanic. It's also really helpful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it now.
John, Arlene, if you want to comment on that.
Sure. So I think that so as someone who has done within STEM a little bit of a career transition from chemistry, mentors are very, very important. I have found that being one actually is just as rigorous as having one, and I have been very blessed with some extremely rigorous mentors, so much so that I've basically had a computer science curriculum forced upon me from outside in a very good way throughout my actual working career after my degree. So I think it's very easy to sort of just go along with what you know is what you do know, and you don't need to know more. But having the right mentors that push you to say that your brain is basically infinite and there's no reason that you can't learn this other thing that realistically you haven't been asked to do yet, but now you are, is something that I rely on mentors to do, and something that I am now very often doing with my team. There's a lot of fulfillment that comes from people telling you that you can do something that you didn't